Richard Avedon was one of the most important fashion photographers of the 20th century. Born in New York on May 15, 1923, Avedon also did portrait and documentary photography as well as fashion. Avedon was encouraged by his family to photography from an early age. His father was a Jewish immigrant from Russia who owned a successful fashion business in New York, where Avedon developed his interest in the fashion world. In 1942, Avedon joined the U.S. Navy and served as a war photographer. After the war he began working for Harper's Bazaar and became a staff photographer in 1946. Here she began to create a new style that revolutionized the world of fashion by capturing models in action, naturally and alive. Photography during the 1950s and 1960s, she became a leading figure in the fashion photography world, working for magazines such as Avedon, Harper's Bazaar, and Vogue. She was one of the first to bring fashion photography to museums when her work was exhibited at the Museum of Modern Art in New York in 1955. In the same year, he prepared campaigns for important fashion brands such as Dior and Givenchy. In the 1970s, Avedon began focusing on portrait photography, photographing many famous faces including Andy Warhol, Truman Capote, Bob Dylan, Marilyn Monroe, Audrey Hepburn, and Elizabeth Taylor. In the 1980s, Avedon started a project called America's West, in which he photographed people living in the western United States. This project is one of Avedon's most important work in the field of documentary photography. In the 1990s, Avedon continued to innovate in the fashion world, creating campaigns for brands such as Gianni Versace, Calvin Klein, Revlon, and Levi's. He also worked on Bill Clinton's presidential campaign in 1992, and the "Perfect Candidate" photo on the cover of Time magazine became one of the most famous political portraits in history. Avedon passed away on October 1, 2004, at the age of 81, in New York City. He left a lasting legacy, not just in the world of fashion photography, but in photography as a whole.